am in such a great mood, you guys. I just got married. Check this out. I found Dr. Wonderful on OkCupid, which is kind of like saying I found a Fabergé egg at a garage sale. I'm pretty sure that I found the only man online who gives a lot of drugs instead of taking a lot of drugs. I realize I sound like I'm bragging, and obviously nothing is ever going to be perfect. Gotta keep it real. I did get him used, although he prefers pre-owned. I think he thinks it sounds classier or something, like he's a Lexus. Ladies, if you're in the market, I highly recommend pre-owned. This is the way to go. They are impeccably trained. The other day I said to him, you know, Dr. Wonderful, you don't have to always agree with every single thing I say. And his response, I know, you're right. His first wife was Japanese, so I have some really small shoes to fill. I would do anything for this man, except probably play doctor. Playing doctor with an anesthesiologist just sounds like a really, really dumb thing to do. I feel like that would be akin to running by Cosby's house really, really late at night with a bottle of wine looking for career advice. I think we all know the whole point of foreplay is not to be put to sleep feeling nothing, right? He did want to know if after we got married if I would take his name, so I guess I need to start introducing myself as Tom. Like a great used car, he came loaded with some features. He had a townhouse. The last time I got something that came with a townhouse, I was 7 and it was a Barbie. He has 2 beautiful daughters. Girls are amazing. They like smell good and they check on us. But what that means is that we now have 4 children in their 20s. And what that means is that we are always out of beer. Anyone here dealing with kids in their 20s? Okay, up in the balcony, I saw some kids that look like they're still being in their 20s. Listen, I'm a mom, so if anyone needs a ride home or a snack or anything, I have some perfectly good raisins in my purse. Actually, the last time I was down here, some college kid came up to me and he's like, did you mean that thing about the raisins? Being in your 20s, for those parents of 20-somethings that kind of exhaustively clapped, it's a weird time because like, you're kind of a grown-up and then you're like kind of a kid. And that makes for some strange conversations. The other day, one of my sons said to me, stop treating me like I'm a baby, and hell yes, I want an Easter basket. There is nothing creepier that you will ever see than a hungover, bearded dude holding a sparkly basket of eggs in your living room first thing Easter Sunday morning. Honestly, sir, I can't unsee that as much as I'd like to. I guess as a general rule of thumb, when you get to the point that things like condoms and edibles and concert tickets feel like the right thing to be putting in the basket, probably time to just go ahead and lose the basket, don't you think? I miss having little kids around. I always thought somehow that I'd go from having kids to then having grandkids. And I find myself sadly between gigs these days. I ran out of kids. Actually, my kids ran out on me. They said that I put the mother in smother and they were out of here. Yeah. People always ask me and my husband if we have grandchildren, and we tell them we're trying. We travel a lot, and whenever we get to that kiosk at the airport, I always check the box that says, add lap infant. And so far, nobody has come by with a baby for me. The next time one of my son's girlfriends is like, can I get you anything? I think she might be a little sorry. No, it's crazy. I remember being like in my 20s and thinking about all that it was going to take to have a baby and feeling kind of daunted by that. And now I have to find somebody else that will do all that stuff for me. I mean, I would feel awkward asking you for your Hulu password. I'm not going to feel bad asking my kids to do this for me. It's one little thing. Well, I mean, actually, it's two little things, because I think that babies should have siblings, don't you? But everybody knows moms love things that you make yourself. With, stuff you have around the house. And it's not like I'm asking them to do something that they weren't going to do anyhow, right? If I asked them to go to like a craft festival with me, that would be like, oh, Mom, seriously? But like, not raw dogging the one they love. I know my boys are capable of commitment because they just got matching tattoos. And don't worry, I'm not going to do that thing that moms do and act like they vandalized something that I had worked really, really hard on. Although, come to think of it, that's kind of what happened. I understand now how an architect must feel when one of his buildings gets tagged. I think that kids just love buying something with their own money that they can't lose. And I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I can do it. And I'll tell you, it's because anytime I've tried to do something really trendy in the spirit of being cool, it always backfires horribly, and I end up destroying the evidence. And I know why it is. It's because I always have to find the best deals on things. Like, there are just certain times in your life that you don't want to save money, like legal advice or Mint Mobile Cellular or hot dogs. The other day I saw a guy on social media who had ended up with a no regrets tattoo. That would be me for sure. I would have total regrets, especially after I found out about the return policy. There is a time and place for everything, though. There is one group that I think should all have ink, and that's really, really old people, because they forget so much, and some of the things that they forget are really, really important, like medically necessary. Like, imagine your grandma with that like inch-high goth Kat Von D script that says like DNR. Or you could do the really pretty calligraphy and have it say like, if I've fallen, I can't get up. You could do checklist for stroke. You could have your kids' names and birth dates. My dad could have used that. He could never remember our birthdays because we weren't boys. Oh, and I know, let's say you didn't do the best job planning for your retirement. You could sell ad space. When you have fallen on the sidewalk and broken your hip, that switch to Geico and save message could be getting literally hundreds of views. I think a lot of us are going to have to be really, really creative if we want to retire with any dignity. I'm looking for options. The other day I read a truly inspirational story about a 68-year-old dominatrix who's been charging men $150 an hour to clean her house. I could retire tomorrow, really, with those terms. I mean, that's winning. And I'm not going to copy her. Nobody likes a copycat, and I can't really do stilettos. They hurt my back, you know. The closest thing that I've been able to come up with would be like maybe getting 300 people to each pay $25 to just listen to me rant about whatever on a stage. Yeah. I can't decide like where I'm at. Like I can't decide if I'm young or old, and we do not need to break into smaller discussion groups and get to the bottom of this. Standing here before you tonight, I am the oldest that I've ever been, but I'm also the youngest I'll ever be, right? Somebody said there's a really easy way to get to the bottom of this, and you just go out into a crowded public place and fall down. And then you'll know, because like if people come running, like you're toast, and if they point and laugh, you're still good. Please don't do that. You could break a hip, and we all know that is quite often the beginning of the end, right? There have to be questions you can ask yourself to get, safely determine this. Like, did you originally read the book 1984 as a futuristic cautionary tale? Do you use the U.S. Postal Service to send and receive checks? Have you noticed that when it's your birthday, they've stopped singing, "and many more"? Do you follow your friends on Facebook? Or the obituaries? A couple of years ago, I was at my mom's house and she had an obituary on her refrigerator, and I said, "Oh, sweetie, did you lose a friend?" And she said, "No, I just like her haircut." If you're getting style cues from the obituaries, that's also pretty bad too. Are you unable to date people that are older than you are because there just simply aren't any? Have you ever gotten lost? Getting lost is something that we don't do any longer. I have always hated getting lost. The only time that I like to get lost is in Palm Springs, California. You've got to pull over if you get lost there, because the directions you get are hilarious. It's like, okay, tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna go down on Lucille Ball. Ew. And then you're gonna turn on Frank Sinatra and hope you don't get your kneecaps broke. After that, you're gonna get on Bob Hope. And you're gonna stay on Bob Hope until you come to your hotel. No, we don't have to get lost anymore. We have road navigation apps, and thank God, traffic has gotten so awful. I feel lately like human trafficking would be easier to get out of. They really work, but man, they take you on some crazy routes. Earlier today, Waze had me jump into a funeral procession to save 5 minutes. I'm not proud, but I did it. The more I'm using it, the more I want navigation. Like, I want whole life navigation app. Wouldn't that be spectacular? Saturday afternoon, you're in the grocery store with no sense that danger is looming nearby, when you'd hear, "Watch out, ex-mother-in-law on aisle 3. Proceed to produce with caution." Or you'd be going in to meet your girlfriends for Taco Tuesday and you'd hear, "In 30 feet, there's a gropey drunk guy by the taco bar, and the guacamole looks awful. avoid area entirely. Just once in my life and in my comedy, I'd like to be getting a little less of "you're going the wrong way," and just once I'd like to hear, "You've arrived." Thank you all so much for having me.